Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 90th minute and our weekly podcast. Tonight, it is myself, Liam, and Wazinho, baby. How you doing?
Good. I'm fantastic. It's
I
nice.
can see you, but
Yeah.
I can't see you. You're
It's
not here
like
beside
it's
me.
like the good old days.
Oh, this is a throwback.
Yeah.
Throwback to the original 90th minute podcast and all that stuff. But yes, it is our weekly podcast
hmm
here on on YouTube, as well as audio apps, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. It's been a lot going on. A lot of news headlines, let's call it,
Yeah.
for football. Big news, including the World Cup, some European news as well, transfers. We'll get through all of that. We'll talk about that. But first and foremost, Wazinho, how are you doing today?
Oh, it's good. I went on a nice hike today. That was
Nice
good.
hike.
Yeah.
Where?
The River Valley area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just went for a nice walk. It was nice
But
out.
just by yourself, just
Yeah.
cruising?
By
Hey, fair
myself.
enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's good. I like that. I like to hear that. Get out there in nature. It wasn't the nicest day today. It was a little windy, a little
But then
rainy.
it picked up and it
It
was
got
beautiful.
nice. It
Yeah.
did. I agree.
It's a good day for football.
It would have been a great day for football if
Yeah.
the World Cup was on, but because it's in
Yes.
Qatar and is in the middle of winter, it's going to be a terrible World Cup for us Canadians. And let's transition that into our first main topic today of our podcast. The host cities for the 2026 North American World Cup have been announced, and we're sad.
We're kind of sad. We're kind of disappointed. You know, our city didn't get selected, which is, you know what, after a couple days, I'm okay with it. You know, I kind of understand it. I'm more so sad that we didn't get picked. You know, I understand why we didn't in a sense. I mean, Vancouver, it's a very luxurious city. It's very beautiful, more marketable, as you say. And, you know, you're not wrong about that. It just sucks to know that we had a chance at having World Cup games in our own backyard, and it just didn't happen. So,
Yeah,
we're just so close. And then, you know, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, like I said, we were so close. There was 3 Canadian cities in the running. We thought maybe all 3 would get picked, but in the end, it was just Vancouver and Toronto, like you said. I understand why. I mean, on the face value of it, Toronto's Toronto. In the East, they will always get selected as a Canadian host city.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough. It's the biggest city in Canada. For the Western side, you know, up until a month or 2 months ago, Vancouver wasn't even in the running. They had pulled out. They had dropped out, saying financially they didn't want to compete with it. So we were okay. Well, we're a shoe-in then. There's 2 Canadian cities running. We are a shoe-in to get World Cup matches in Edmonton. Unfortunately, Vancouver came back into the running, and the marketability of Vancouver, where they're located, the weather, even the more modern stadium. I mean, BC Place is not as big as Commonwealth Stadium here at Edmonton, but it's newer. It has the retractable roof. It has a nice, you know, has a nice atmosphere in there. And I think it will sell well for FIFA and for the World Cup on Canadian soil. So I understand the selection process. I also think it came down to politics and money, and the Canadian and Alberta government especially seemed to really expect things from FIFA. And
I think, I think it was the Alberta government, and they essentially wanted a lot more matches than they were supposed to get. They kind of wanted, like, I think a round of 16 match, a round of 32, a couple group stage matches. Bruv, Vancouver's just getting 6 matches and they're happy. Like, they're not demanding.
That's the thing. You should be happy to get even mentioned. I mean, it's Edmonton. It's not the biggest city in the world. No. We have a nice mall and things at River Valley. Woo, great. Like, I mean, I love being from Edmonton. I'm very proud to be from Edmonton. We're proud. I'm wearing an Alphonso Davies jersey as we speak. I mean, but we have to also realize and be honest with who we are, what we can offer the world, because this is not North America. This is the world. This is the global stage of football. And I'm disappointed in Alberta. I'm disappointed in Canada, really. But I understand it at the same point. So, like you said, a bit of frustration, a bit of disheartened. But I think at the end of the day, the 2 Canadian host cities will do Canada very proud. I think we'll look great on that.
So supposedly the government of Alberta took the unusual step of demanding Edmonton host at least 5 of Canada's 10 allotted 2026 FIFA World Cup games, and also demanded Edmonton host 2 round of 32 or round of 16 knockout games. So that's just, I'll be honest, that's a lot.
It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what else to say, really. It's I was reading an article, and the people who were sitting in the room in Commonwealth when these cities were being announced, like there were some people who actually had some genuine optimism that Edmonton was still going to host it, even though before the unveiling a couple days before, it was said, oh yeah, Vancouver's getting Edmonton up. People were really thinking, oh no, every leak is false. We'll wait till it's actually, and then apparently people were crying because Edmonton to get the World Cup games. Like, people are generally, there's a lot of people who worked hard behind the scenes to try and ensure
100%. So, and a lot of work goes into it from behind the scenes of making the bid, in November when Edmonton hosted the Canadian men's national team, that was us kind of showing FIFA, look what we can do. We sold over 50,000 tickets in November, minus 14 versus Mexico. I mean, imagine what would happen plus 25 in Edmonton. Brazil comes to town. Oh my God, that stadium tickets are being sold for thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, it would be insane, it would be mental. But let's go over some of the other host cities, because I think
I just want to mention something about Vancouver. So one of the reasons why Vancouver really got back into the mix and got World Cup games is because the CONCACAF president, Victor Monteglia, I can't pronounce the last name. Yeah. He is from BC. He is from Vancouver. So essentially, he actually went down to Vancouver and told them, get back into the bidding process, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And because of his influence, Vancouver essentially, okay, well, we're back in. Yeah. Once Vancouver was back in, Edmonton had no chance.
I feel like maybe also he knew something when Alberta was making those demands. Edmonton was making those demands for FIFA of the games. And I think he maybe caught wind, hey, we don't want to give it to them. I think he went, all right, well, I know Vancouver can host. It has hosted. They've had Olympics. They've had Women's World Cups. I think he had a bit of maybe insider knowledge of Edmonton's out of the race now. We've taken them out of the race. Vancouver, this is yours to win now. So I want to talk about three cities.
I want to say one last thing. It was just, the annoying part about this was the fact that Vancouver backed out of the World Cup bid, and then they brought themselves back in, and then they got games. So that was the annoying part. But yeah, let's go on.
Well, I want to move into Mexico. I mean, of course, Mexico City is one of the host cities. The Azteca, I mean, that's always going to be involved in a North American World Cup. Mexico is the first country ever to host the World Cup 3 separate occasions. So shout out to Mexico. I'm honestly really, really looking forward to seeing Mexico and how they host this World Cup and what they bring. The flair and the passion the Mexican fans bring are going to be phenomenal for this tournament. But it's also Guadalajara and Monterrey are the 2 host cities. I think both those cities are going to be great. I think it's going to be some really nice stadiums, actually. Have you seen that league? Is it Liga BBVA?
That's Monterrey Stadium.
That thing looks incredible. I loved it. I was like, oh, this thing is great.
It's like a mountain in the back. It's like
fantastic.
Screw any of the games in the States. I'm going to Monterrey.
You know what? I'm kind of feeling that. On paper, at least, this is a USA World Cup, Canada and Mexico features. That's okay. I'm okay being a feature.
Could you imagine if Scotland qualifies or Ireland qualifies for the World Cup 2026 and they're having a game in Guadalajara?
Oh, it'd be great. It'd be a great time. Which is Scotsman in Mexico just
make it happen, Scotland.
Make it high. I'm hoping. But let's go over the host cities in the USA. There is some big cities, of course. Also some big names to be missing out on this tournament. We'll go over those afterwards. First is Atlanta, of course, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, a state-of-an-art $1 billion stadium. That thing's going to be incredible for this tournament. Boston, Gillette Stadium, home of the Patriots. I know you, Waz, a big Patriots fan.
No.
Dallas, of course, home of the Cowboys, AT&T Stadium. That's 100,000 person stadium. That's a huge.
Who's the guy who owns the Cowboys?
I know, but I don't know. What's his name? Oh, why can't it come to my mind?
No, I'm gonna Google right now. Owner of the Cowboys. Is he the guy with the big like fur coat at the Cowboys games?
I think so. Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones.
Fur coat. I'm Googling it.
You Google that. There's also Houston, Kansas City, Los Angeles. So Los Angeles at the SoFi?
It's SoFi.
Stadium?
Yeah, it's SoFi.
Brand new.
That'll
stadium.
be really good.
That's gonna be a great stadium. Miami has got a host city. That's gonna be fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you imagine World Cup on South Beach? Come on.
Hard Rock Stadium,
New York, which is where the MetLife Stadium is, where the final of the World Cup is.
Is that confirmed?
I believe so.
World Cup final 2026. I don't know if that's actually confirmed.
I thought it was confirmed for MetLife, but maybe I am wrong. There's also Philadelphia, San Francisco Bay Area, and come on, Seattle, fight and win. No, honestly.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think the World Cup final is actually official for 2026. I know there was people said it was in MetLife, but it's most probably going to be New York. Apparently, people are saying the 2026 World Cup final will be in New York. Personally, I wish it was in Los Angeles. I think that would be nice.
I kind of do as well, if I'm honest. My only thing that maybe they're not going to do Los Angeles is due to time difference.
Maybe
the 2 hour time the time difference to the East Coast will help more of the European, Asian viewers potentially.
Put it in Houston, Texas. Everything's big in Texas.
I think there's some great cities hosting there. Now let's talk about the ones that are missing out. So we already talked about Edmonton is missing out. I know you were very upset that Nashville did not.
Yeah, that pissed me off. Which maybe they don't have a big enough stadium or whatnot, but Nashville is a great city to just host events in general.
Yeah.
Everything is super close by. Honestly, I know the Tennessee Titans Stadium. You can set there's a bridge right beside it that basically you can walk from the stadium to downtown. And then downtown you have Broadway, which is party central. It's literally like Vegas without the gambling. It's a good time. Like Nashville is a party town, and the World Cup is a party, right? So I'm disappointed in that sense because I would love to go to Nashville or a World Cup game, and
I think it's gonna be
go down to a honky tonk and play some.
There we go.
Yeah.
Was it just going down to a honky tonk, boys and ladies?
Go ahead.
Los Angeles is going to be incredible. I think Miami is going to be incredible. Seattle will do itself very, very proud. That's a very nice stadium with it's a great home fan base, the Seattle Sounders fan base. And, people fly in, of course. New York is always going to be great. It's New York. They know how to put on a show. I'm interested to see how places like Philadelphia, Kansas City, how they do it. Boston, I'm looking forward to that. I really am. Anything else you want to add to the host cities?
Cities that missed. I think one that was kind of, I was surprised that Washington, D.C., the capital, didn't get selected. I think this is one of the first times in a world. I think this is one of the first times in, how do I word this? Where basically the capital of a country is not hosting a World Cup game.
I mean, out of the three nations, only one capital of Mexico City. I mean,
there you
Ottawa,
go.
Canada is not hosting.
Oh, I mean, who's going to host a fucking game in Ottawa? No offense, Ottawa.
Toronto thinks that they are the capital of Canada. So, I mean, fair enough.
I mean, Washington, D.C., though. Wayne Rooney played there.
Wayne Rooney did play there. But the only thing I think of is maybe their stadium is too far away from being up to FIFA standards. And that's something that needs to be talked about, because all of these stadiums will need to meet FIFA regulations for this tournament. Includes a certain capacity. I think it's 55,000 or more, 50,000 or more. They have to have real grass turf, of course. So all of these American stadiums have artificial turf due to, American football. So that'll all be changed out. But some of them will have to be upgraded capacity. BMO Field in Toronto will need a full capacity to become regulation. I mean, they will have to be upgraded. They will have to make renovations to that stadium. And that's why I say Edmonton's unlucky, because Edmonton Stadium is FIFA quality already. They said to change the field. I mean, yes, they could update it and they could upgrade it, but the stadium capacity is already there. It is what it is. Edmonton misses out. Luckily for us, Vancouver, Seattle's not very far away.
Sorry, the other city I was kind of surprised to see not get a World Cup game was Chicago. Chicago's got a pretty big footballing. I think they got a pretty good stadium.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of
Soldier Field.
Yeah, big Polish community. So Poland makes the World Cup. Put in Chicago, you'll get a great turnout. I was kind of surprised that Kansas City got a World Cup.
They've hosted a lot of big events recently. I mean, Kansas City NFL football is on top of the world at the moment.
I never knew that. Okay.
Showtime Mahomes, baby.
I was going to say, like I said, it's surprising to see Kansas City get the World Cup, but not Nashville. Like, I don't know how big of a city.
You're just upset about Nashville.
I am, man, but
you're more upset about that than you are about Edmonton, I think.
Slightly. No, I don't know. I was a bit emotional when I didn't hear Edmonton, but I just felt like I died inside a little bit. Like,
I was watching that, and literally the first card he pulled out was Vancouver, and I went, that's done. It's
because they're going off like what, the Pacific?
Yeah, the West Central and then East. The West first. I'm like, Vancouver's the first name red.
I was like kind of hoping, like, are they gonna go back to Canada?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Edmonton's in the Central.
I was holding on to a glimmer of hope. As soon as that Central was finished, I said, okay. I turned it off. I don't care anymore. I don't care who else is given. I don't care.
Really, another reason why Edmonton didn't get selected is kind of the travel between cities like Vancouver, Seattle, and Edmonton. So what I've
heard is because of the expanded format of this World Cup, it's a 48-team World Cup in 2026. They want two cities to be kind of close together. That way teams don't have to travel across an entire continent for a group stage match. So you have Seattle, Vancouver close together. You have LA and San Francisco close together. I believe it's Guadalajara and Houston are the two that are together. Kansas City and Dallas, I want to say.
I don't think Guadalajara and Houston are that close together, to be honest.
I believe maybe I would need to look at the map again.
Yeah, the map
FIFA posted, but each host city. I keep saying nation. Host city somewhat has a city close enough to another representative city. So I understand that format. If that's how they're going to do it and how they're going to play the group stage, it would make sense because the group stages are going only to 3 teams, so there's only 2 games played. So you can play in each city. Boom, boom, done, kind of thing. But yeah,
the group stage in 2026 only 3 teams,
3-team group stages.
I don't like that.
It's going to be a complete new format. It's going to be
is that legitimate? I don't like that. I think I've always liked 4. Bullshit, man.
It's going to be interesting to see what it ends up playing out like. I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
Could a big team miss out by finishing second? I don't know. I don't know how this is going to all play out.
48-team tournament. How do we feel about that? That's a lot of teams, a lot of games. I mean,
it is.
Yeah.
I like the idea of maybe some of the smaller nations getting there. Your Peru, your Scotland, your I don't know. Poland made it, but who knows if they will then because Lewandowski will be retired. So who knows? Do you want to keep talking World Cup or do you want to move on to our next topic?
What's your next topic? You said you had a few, which is good.
Richard Arnold. Does the name strike anything to you?
Maybe. I know Maximilian Arnold.
Richard Arnold is actually the Manchester United CEO.
Oh,
he replaced Ed Woodward.
Yeah. I think I saw this. I heard about this.
So he sat down with a couple fans, like just everyday normal people at a pub. He had a drink with them. Now, they were talking Manchester United, of course. They were talking about the past few years. They were talking about the future. They're talking about the present day and transfers they were looking into and stuff like that. And he was very open and honest. Now, to talk about that, first off, it's great to see a CEO of a club, let alone a multi-billion-dollar club like Manchester United, just sitting down at a pub talking to people. I think that's great to have a bit of personality and a bit of one-on-one time with the people who, without the fans, the club is nothing. So I think he's doing a great job, especially compared to his predecessor, Ed Woodward, who was the furthest thing from in touch with the club and the fans, stuff like that. So he sat down with these fans and they were asking questions. And one of the big first talking points he was talking about was Ed Woodward and the previous, few years at United, and how he said, I don't know how they spent their money, because he said, we put around £1 billion into developing our training complex. You look around, you don't see anything worth £1 billion. So where did our money go? That's what he was asking. Like, what do we spend it on? How are we not state of the art? Why is our stadium needing so many repairs? Because Old Trafford has not been improved upon.
From what I've heard, it's not great. And you said, Richard Arnold said, we spent over £1 billion over the last 10 years, more than anyone in Europe. I'm not thrilled with where we are.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
He doesn't look like United are where they should be for the amount of money spent. Now, moving on to what else he said, currently today, the money that Eric Ten Hag and his director of football want for transfers, the money's there. United are not suffering for cash. He says about 200 to 250 million pounds for the transfer window right now for Eric Ten Hag.
This is what Richard Arnold said about John. He says John Murdoch is working from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. trying to get the Frankie de Jong deal done. There's 200 million pounds for transfers in that. He wouldn't let any other target slip.
Frankie de Jong is I think the main target for United right now. And even if the player doesn't necessarily want to join United as a first choice option, he may be forced to if Barca can't afford to re-sign him or keep him on if they want to bring in players like Lewandowski. So we'll see. I think what I get out of this conversation that he had, first and foremost, I think is really positive. I think it's positive to have a good relationship with the fans and to be a bit more open with everyone, because the United boardroom seemed to be hidden away, locked away. No one could get in, no one could get out, except the football leaks and the journalism and the newspaper seem to know things going on in the dressing room. So maybe, and that was another thing he said. He said, I can guarantee you, he said, I won't give names, but I guarantee you the players who were leaking to the media are gone.
Or I think he said two of the people that are leaking stuff out of the dressing room are gone.
Well, I'm not gonna say names, but Paul Pogba and Jesse Lingard.
Maybe, you never know. I'm gonna
put those two names forward.
It couldn't be Juan Mata. That guy's too nice.
I agree.
Or Matic,
Matic never. Paul Pogba.
I like this.
Lee Grant doesn't give a fuck.
He's still there. I like this tweet from the United Faithfuls. They said, well done to Richard Arnold for coming out and speaking with fans. But those are empty words until we see improvements and changes. Speaking with fans in the pub won't change Man United. Actions will, 100%.
I agree with that. I think this is a good start, though. He also mentioned the Glazers and how he said, I won't stand up and defend them, but they can come out and they can say whatever they want. They are their own people, their own group, their own media thing. They can say what they want to say and do what they want to do. So he's not going to just be their little puppet, but he's also not going to, maybe he's not going to run it himself, because he also brought up how he didn't understand why Ed Woodward was involved in transfers. That's not what he's there to do. So he goes, well, I'm not here to make the signings. I'm here just to help facilitate jobs and help facilitate the team. So on the face of it, it's really good to see. I think if you were a United fan like you are, I think you'd be positives.
I hope so. It's just I've heard so often over the last so many years, we're going to sign this player, this player, this player. These changes are coming, and we've seen nothing. So at this point, I'm kind of just like, I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be. There are United fans who are like, oh, wait for Rashford next season. You ain't ready. He's got a new piercing and this and that. He's gonna tear the Premier League apart. I'm like, Rashford's done fuck all for the past 2 seasons. I'm sorry. I don't know.
This is his make it or break it year at United. 100%. Rashford has to perform under Ten Hag, otherwise he could be replaced. There's options out there for wingers. And United need to move on players who are not up to United standards. So for Marcus Rashford, it's now or never kind of thing. But let's move on to some other transfers that are confirmed, about to be confirmed, on the horizon kind of thing. Start with the biggest name of them all. Sadio Mane is off to Bayern Munich. It looks like the deal's been agreed upon, around 40 million euros in and around there. Mm-hmm. It's a great player to sign for so cheap. Yes, he's into his last year of contract at Liverpool. Sadio Mane, yeah, we all know what he can do. I'm sad to see him leave the Premier League, but it's also exciting for him. I think a new league, a new team that he can showcase his world-class abilities. Maybe he can he take over the goal scoring that Robert Lewandowski is going to be leaving?
Probably not, but it's something, right? So
it's very there.
It's very interesting to see how Mane. I mean, Mane, he played in the Bundesliga before, right? I'm pretty sure.
Did he? Yes, he did.
Yeah, before he went to Southampton. Yeah,
he did. 100%.
Was it Southampton? I can't remember, but yeah, he's been there before. Yes. So he's got unfinished business. He wants to win the Bundesliga. It should be kind of easy for him, I think.
A player that you absolutely love is going to your rivals. Marc Cucurella is going to Manchester City.
I'm so happy to see Marc Cucurella go to Man City. It's the great signing. He can play anywhere on the pitch. You put him in a 6, you put him in an 8. He can play there. You put him top in the wing, wide winger. It's fucking Pep.
Listen.
That's Mallorca was.
Listen, I think Cucurella is a good signing for City. Cucurella. Mozzarella. He's a good signing for City.
That's his hair right there. Mozzarella.
He'll do well for them. He'll be a squad rotational player, but he can grow into a first.
100%. I think he's a player that Pep Guardiola will really enjoy having in the squad.
I mean, he's an ex-Barcelona academy player, so he has that connection with Pep.
Yeah,
but I think his versatility is great. It's very good to have that in a squad. You need players that can play anywhere. But that left back position, I think, can be his in another year or so. I think it's open for him.
Yeah, and what's surprising about Cucurella is that he's only 23. It feels like he's so mature for his age and the way he plays.
He's immature?
No, mature. He's very mature. Like, he seems very confident. Like, and also when I first looked at this guy, I thought he was like 28, 32.
He does look a little bit older. He does.
He does not look 23. So
with him coming into Man City, it has opened the door for Zinchenko to leave.
Yeah.
It looks like options are going to be available for him, whether it's in the Premier League or elsewhere. I know he's been linked with Everton for a little bit now. I think he'd be actually a very good pickup for Everton. Mm-hmm. He's a player that I think should have first team minutes consistently. He just can't get it at Man City, which is hard to come by. But he could do a job for another Premier League team.
Probably. There's no doubt about that.
I like Zinchenko. Another top 4 club making, or top 6, I guess, making moves. It's Tottenham Hotspur. They sign Bissouma from Brighton Hove Albion. Last year, I said to you that Bissouma would be a good option for Manchester United in that midfield. You didn't get him. Tottenham get him. Antonio Conte is going to make him into an absolute baller. You watch. Yves Bissouma will be in the Premier League Team of the Year.
No, I agree with you. Basuma's a great midfielder. And
I like him.
That's another player that Brighton's also losing. Now they're losing Cucurella and they're losing Bissouma. Yes. You might as well cash in on these players as well,
Well, I mean, you bring that up. Brighton were not great this Premier League year.
What do you mean?
They were.
No, they were decent.
They were decent.
Did they finish top 10?
I think they finished 10th.
Yeah, that's quite good for Brighton, I think.
Yeah. But now they're selling off their talent. Bissouma.
They finished 9th.
They finished 9th. Okay, good for them.
I mean, 11 losses, but that's still quite good for them.
But they're selling off their talent. They have to replace them now, and they still, I think, don't have a good enough goal scorer. I think Neil Mopai is not.
I think enough. They've definitely lacked a goal scorer. But what makes up for them, I think, is their defense. Not defense. Their midfield's always been pretty solid.
But now they're letting go of Bissouma, who I think was their best midfielder. So let's see what Brighton are able to do, see who they're able to pick up. I think it's a good signing for Tottenham. I think he'll be there
Yeah.
for a solid amount of time. I think he can grow into a
Well,
great
he's
player.
25.
Yeah.
He's made position as central midfield. He can play DM as well.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, you look at Man United, they're going after Frankie de Jong, such a high profile name. I think, maybe Man United needs to take a step back with these transfers and get someone like a Basuma, someone who can be reliable in the midfield.
A bit of heart and fight in them a little bit, not the money bags in their eyes kind of thing.
And you look at Frankie de Jong, and he doesn't really want to move from Barcelona. Exactly. Are you gonna
exactly?
Is Man United gonna get the best out of Frankie de Jong if he doesn't want to leave Barcelona? Like, maybe Ten Hag and their relationship might help, but I want a player who wants to play for the club.
If he's already saying how, I don't want to leave Barca, I don't want to do it. Well, then why would he do his best when he's at United? Why would you not just sit there for 2-3 seasons, make a boatload of cash like Paul Pogba, sulk around, and then fuck off in another 2 years?
I don't think he's gonna sulk around. I don't know. Maybe
you hope not. You hope not.
He's never seen that type of player.
I don't think he's that type of man, that type of player. But at the same time, things happen in a career. A career is short. Do you want to waste seasons or years at teams or in countries you don't want to be at, don't want to play for, just because of financial? I mean, look at Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
The man never would have left Barca if he didn't have to. He goes to PSG, and you can physically see that he's not happy there. He doesn't want to be there. So we'll see what happens with De Jong. We'll see what happens with the Premier League transfers in general. There's going to be lots more coming up as the weeks go on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all the big names on the move. Let's talk about someone who got a new contract, though, and who has the expectations now on his shoulders that we'll see what he can do. Eddie Nketiah signs a new deal at Arsenal. He will be their new starting striker, and he's been given the number 14. Of course, Thierry Henry's number, Aubameyang's number previously. That's a huge step for Eddie Nketiah. He was on his way out 6 months ago. He comes into the team, scores a couple goals on a few starts, and now he's new contract, main man up front. Aubameyang's gone, Lacazette is gone. So Eddie Nketiah, is he the man to lead Arsenal this season?
That'll be interesting to see. I mean, he only had 5 goals in 21 appearances. I didn't really see much of him, but he's clearly got some promise and potential. And
I don't think he's good enough to start for Arsenal week in and week out.
Maybe not at the moment. So. He's also 23, and we talked about Cusarella, who's 23 as well, and he's getting bought by Man City. Like, I don't know, man.
He has time still to grow into that striker.
Yeah.
But my thing is, Arsenal don't necessarily have time to wait for him to grow into that striker. They need a number 9 today, not in 2 years. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. I hope the best for him. I hope that he's able to succeed. It's just to sign the new contract, to be told you're the new starter, and then to get number 14 as Thierry Henry. Man, those are some big boots to fill.
It just feels like they're trying to lock him down for the long term, but at the same time, I don't know. It'd be tough to compete. Yeah. They also signed Vieira. Arsenal, they signed Vieira.
Yes, yeah, from Porto. Yes, that's a good. I was like, Vieira.
I've heard he's very good. He's a very agile, speedy midfielder. I heard I read a little bit of a thing on him on ESPN. A little bit selfish too. So I'm excited to watch him play in the Premier League. Honestly, the Portuguese league has produced some great talents recently.
It really has.
So,
well, actually, speaking about Portugal, I wanted to bring up. So I watched a video today about all those years ago, an 18-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo playing for Sporting Club de Portugal in the Champions League versus Manchester United. As an 18-year-old, this man was absolutely tearing apart the United backline. I think he got an assist and a goal in the one game, and he looked incredible. He was so quick on the ball. His feet were brilliant. He was getting past the back line every single time. So my question I want to ask you, Wazzy, under the age of 20, we've seen Haaland coming through. We've seen Mbappe coming through. We've seen Phil Foden coming through. Are any of those 3 generational talents even close to Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi?
When they were 18?
Yeah.
Maybe Holland. I think Holland, the way he's been producing in the last couple of years, you can definitely make a case. Mbappe, obviously, with the skill and talent he has, and it's tough to say because Mbappe. I mean, he was in Monaco, and then he gets to PSG, won the World Cup. He produced well at that World Cup in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
The only knock people have on Mbappe now is that he choked in the Champions League, he choked in the Euros, but like that happens. The guy's still 22 and now making a boatload of money. So, but it's straight. I think it feels like we have so many generational talents on our head right now.
I feel like we're trying to weed through it all. We have, like you said, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 generational talents. You look at Pedri, you look at Gavi at Barcelona, and they're all being hyped up as the next generational talent. And I think we had to wait until they become 24, 25, 26 to see if are they the real deal, or are they gonna drop off and become just your regular player kind of thing, your normal player. But I don't think many will ever compare to Messi and Ronaldo at 20, 21, 22. Messi had 3 Ballon d'Ors at the same age as Mbappe.
Jesus,
that's insane. That's mental. What?
Did he actually?
Do you have 3 by 25?
I don't know. Well, probably. Mbappe's 23.
I thought he was older than that.
No, he's. I know he feels like he's been around forever now.
We're old, man. We are old.
Yeah, but
what are we doing with our lives? We're not winning Ballon d'Ors, not winning Champions League. He won a World Cup.
Yeah.
Heartbreak. What do you want to talk about next, sir?
Well, it's just transfers really going on right now. There's been a few interesting ones. I'm looking through Fabrizio Romano's Twitter. How do we feel about Romelu Lukaku going back to Inter?
Not confirmed yet, but
it's likely going to happen, I think.
It's going to be a loan deal with option to buy back to Inter. I mean, it's what Lukaku wants. Of course, Chelsea spent 100 million for him, and he didn't produce at all. So
there was an expectation of him that he was gonna,
huge expectation,
come back to the Prem and absolutely tear up the goal scoring table, and he didn't. And I don't know if that's because of Thomas Tuchel's system and he just didn't fit into that kind of system, but I
think it definitely had to do with the Chelsea system, but also had to do, I think, with he simply didn't want to be there. He was sold by Inter Milan, not because he wanted to leave, but because they had to for financial reasons. So again, we see another time where players get transferred not through their own personal wishes,
but in a sense,
it doesn't work out.
It seemed like he wanted to go back to Chelsea and prove so many people wrong, and rewrite history, win titles with Chelsea. It's like, I'm coming back, and you saw those videos of him, at Stamford Bridge when he was a kid, and he's like, I'm going to play for Chelsea one day. He finally did it. Things didn't go his way, and he's like, I'm going back to Inter because things are not going my way. I don't know. This guy, I wasn't a big fan of him going back to Chelsea, and this is kind of why. Something about Romelu Lukaku.
I don't think he's a very good Premier League striker. I gotta be honest.
It's strange.
I think he's great.
But the thing is, Italy. He did well at Everton. He did well the first year with Man United.
Yeah.
He did well at West Brom. So something just has changed with Lukaku, where the Premier League just doesn't suit his style. Maybe
something like that. Let's talk about a transfer that went through, but now another team's getting involved.
Okay.
Erling Haaland.
Oh my God.
So he's gone to City. He's a Manchester City player. He's been unveiled. He has a release clause of 150 million euros. Real Madrid have already said 2024, we're going to pay that. And we're going to bring him to the Bernabeu. Now, they've missed out on Kylian Mbappe. They have that money to spend, obviously. Erling Haaland would be the obvious second choice option. Could we see Erling Haaland being at City only for 1 year and then going to Real Madrid? Or do you see him staying at City for multiple seasons?
I think I don't see why Haaland would leave City at this point. It's the club that his dad played for. I think he's going to stay at City for a long time. He's going to try and break some records in the Premier League, win the Champions League, Man City. He wants to go to Man City to win titles. Obviously, you couldn't do that at Real Madrid, but it's also the Premier League. And it is the number 1 league in the world. It's where every player wants to go improve themselves. That's not a dig at La Liga or Serie A, But let's be honest, once you're in the Premier League, you're likely going to stay there for a while if you're a top talent, I think, unless you're Lukaku.
I think for sure. I think for sure Haaland will want to go to the City to win things, to prove himself, to break record, like personal records.
Yeah.
Plus, City have the money. City can pay Haaland whatever they want, and I think on a personal level for him, I think he would rather play for City than Real Madrid, albeit Real Madrid is one of the most, if not the most historic club in world football. But he has a little bit of a connection with City, like you said, through his dad. So if he could be the one to really anchor City as the best in the world, Champions League, Premier League, domestic cup competitions, winning it all, I think he would love to be that guy.
I wonder who Real Madrid will get to replace Benzema, because clearly they have plans to kind of replace him. I just wonder who that guy will be, who that player will be.
I still think it will be Mbappe, whether it's next season, the year after. I don't see Mbappe staying at PSG his entire career. They can give him as much money as he wants. Eventually, the time's going to come where he's going to leave. And I think Real Madrid's the only suitable destination for him then. But up until then, who knows? Who knows what Madrid finds through their youth or whatever. Madrid are weird. They make signings and they just become stars overnight kind of thing.
Yeah, give respect.
Except Luka Jovic, who is on his way out.
That was a failed transfer.
That was they have had a few failed transfers over the past few years for sure. He is on his way out. That's understandable. He hasn't produced. He hasn't done anything. He's not Real Madrid quality. But you know what? He can go on and have a good career throughout other teams in Europe, other leagues. Looking like maybe back to the Bundesliga for him. So we'll see what happens with Luka Jovic. Anything else you want to talk about today?
Well, there's a lot actually to talk about. It seems. How about the Paul Pogba stuff coming out?
Paul Pogba
and Pogmentary. What is this podcast? Like, what? This is so Paul Pogba.
He's so full of himself. He thinks he's something. He thinks that people care.
You win one World Cup and you think you're let's be honest. Paul Pogba, aside from the World Cup, hasn't won shit in his career. He hasn't won a Premier League. He hasn't won a Champions League. Go to a Champions League final with Juventus.
And he won stuff with Juventus domestically, but.
Yeah, but you don't see Carlos Puyol, who won everything, going out and making documentaries, or any of the German players, for example. I don't know. And then it's just kind of the way he kind of made this contract situation United be like, my thought process is to show Manchester United that they made a mistake in waiting to give me a contract. How can you tell a player you absolutely want him and offer him nothing? I've never seen that. But apparently,
there was also the talk about United did not offer him what he thought was a reasonable amount of money. They're offering like $200,000 a week.
No, they're offering around $300,000 a week, but for him, that's nothing.
Like, how much did he want? What was was he walking there expecting $500,000 a week? Like, you haven't been great for the past year or so, Paul. You haven't started half the time, and when you do, you get injured 3 minutes in.
Yeah, and then the results haven't proven that he's worth $300 million or $300,000 a week.
He'll go back to Juventus. He'll do well there. Let's call it as it is. Juventus is a bit of a big fish in a smaller pond. Not the biggest fish, not the smallest pond, but they are a bit of a big fish in a small pond. He'll do well at Juve. He'll win a couple things domestically. Then he'll retire. That's it. He won't do anything else for France, I don't think. I think he's out of that French national team set up. I think they have better options in that midfield now. Champions League, I don't see Juve challenging for Champions League for a long time again. Paul Pogba is going to be, I think he's going to be known for being a lot more of an online hype man than he is an actual footballing ability.
I don't know how, I haven't seen the documentary, but apparently he said United fans know very little about football. It's like, I don't know what else to say, man. Paul Pogba such a
He's taking a big old shit on your club, basically. That's what he's done.
So did Ralph Ragnick, but
Ralph Ragnick called it as it was. He was actually honest. He wasn't overinflated ego. Ralph Ragnick was just honest. I think United are going to be very much worse off because Ralph Ragnick's not involved.
Potentially, yeah.
You get him involved, he can shake down players when it's needed to. He can get them back in form, maybe.
I think the one last transfer I was wanting to talk about was Yuri Tielemans.
Yeah,
Arsenal are interested.
Very
no
much
offer,
so.
but yeah, I'm interested to see where he goes because he's a good midfielder. I think I don't want to say world class because I think that term is overused a lot, but I think he's an elite midfielder and he can become that player.
By all accounts, he has 1 year left on his Leicester deal. He said he's not going to re-sign a new contract. So whether he moves this summer or he goes next summer when he's a free agent from Leicester, we'll see. I think if Yuri Tielemans wants to get his career back on track a little bit, he should leave Leicester. They had a down year last year. He didn't look great last year. He needs to move, whether it is to Arsenal or whether it's to another club. We'll see. But
he's 25. So
he does need to get that career going a bit. I mean, 25, yes, it's
wrong.
young. I mean, we are 25, but at the same time, you're not guaranteed to play till you're 32, 33. You never know what happens with injuries. I mean,
I remember when Yuri Tielemans had like unreal potential in like FIFA 17 or something. Like he was like one of the best midfielders you can sign for young. But yeah, he went to Leicester for around 50 million, and I think his
huge signing for them.
Yeah, and I think his transfer fee right now is around 60 million according to transfer market. So I don't know where he's gonna go. I like to see him at United.
Arsenal will be exciting. Actually, I think they could use him. Same time though, does he take away? What would that midfield be? They're making a couple signings. I mean, players like Granit Xhaka are gone. They're obviously looking for a more dynamic, attacking, quick midfield. So that would be very exciting to see at Arsenal. It definitely needed a bit of a shakeup in the midfield.
And what else? What else to talk about here?
I'm not too sure.
A lot of transfers.
Transfer are the biggest thing right now. Just movements between clubs and players.
There's a big game that went on tonight. I don't know if you saw.
Which one?
The Roberto Carlos match.
The what?
The Roberto Carlos match.
He has his own match.
Yeah. Now I saw One Soccer. Catch Ronaldinho, Roberto Carlos, Alphonso Davies, and plenty of famous footballing friends live from Miami as we present the beautiful game.
What the hell's going on in Miami?
I think Paul Pogba was in this as well. Jimmy Butler was there. Chad Ochocinco. Let me see here. Oh my God, what is this roster? Guess who was in net? Oh no, Carlos Valderrama was there.
Who's in net for? I don't know. Is it a basketball player in Miami?
No, they had Rene Higuita.
Oh, gee, what?
Yeah. He came back.
This team?
This team was sick. They had a bunch of Brazilians. Rafa Marquez is there.
And what is this for?
I think it was maybe a charity match, or they had a few musicians playing. Ryan Babel was there.
Ryan Babel.
Deco and Dybala.
I mean, fair enough.
So Team Roberto Carlos had Stoichkov, Rivaldo, Dennis Zakaria, Nani, Radamel Falcao, Steve Nash.
It's honestly a great team, but also the most random team I've ever seen in my life.
Up front, they had Blessed. I don't know who that is.
I don't know, man. I like how Steve Nash gets involved, though.
Sebastian Frey was in it. Arturo Vidal. What is this?
Things in Miami, man.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. This is actually funny. Yeah, on Team Roberto Carlos, you had Cafu, Militao, Valderrama, Alphonso Davies, Falcao. So, great, the beautiful game, as they call it. I don't know what this tournament's about, but
it's just a good time. Bunch of old Brazilian guys having a good time.
I watched a great documentary last night as well.
Okay, tell me about it.
J-Lo.
All right.
The J-Lo documentary, Jennifer Lopez. She made this documentary leading up from like, for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it kind of just went over her career and how she didn't win a Grammy or another. It was great because I mostly watched it because Super Bowl, Shakira.
Okay.
They barely showed Shakira. No offense to J-Lo. J-Lo was very salty, kind of, that Shakira was involved.
Really?
Because she wanted the show to be just her.
Yeah.
Right?
That's fair.
And she didn't like how the minutes were spread out between two. But J-Lo, still probably for me the most exciting halftime show I watched. I've rewatched it 100 times now. It's I love it. I cried when Waka Waka was played, but J-Lo, I have a lot of respect for her after watching that documentary. I do recommend. It was great. It was good. What's interesting?
Where did you watch it on?
Netflix.
Okay, shout Netflix.
So, go check it out after this podcast, Liam. So
okay.
I found it interesting how they barely showed her, I think, ex-husband. I don't know. She was dating that baseball player.
Yeah, she was.
So
Jeter or Derek Jeter?
Not Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter. A-Rod.
Yeah. And like I remember watching some of these vlogs that he was vlogging this thing during the Super Bowl. But it's just funny how they found ways to really make sure he was never in it.
Yeah.
Like they were like, he was never in her life.
Fair enough.
There was like one clip of A-Rod in this whole documentary.
They talk about Mark Anthony at all?
No, actually didn't. He showed up.
Two children with a Mark Anthony.
I know. I think there was like a small clip of him with the kids, and that's it. But rain on me. Fucking.
Honestly, on that note, I think we should wrap things up here.
Yeah.
Was singing Mark Anthony, so that's how it's gonna be.
Pitbull, Mark Anthony, rain on me.
Let's finish this podcast with a question. 2026 World Cup, Canada, USA, Mexico. Who will be the one who performs the World Cup song?
It'll be a mix.
It will be a mix. Dare I say Pitbull's going to be in the mix?
No.
A little bit of Latin vibe.
No, man. You got to bring in Drake.
Drake, I guarantee Drake's a part of it.
Justin Bieber?
Maybe.
Celine Dion?
Maybe.
To be fair, you have a whole pool of American artists you can choose from. You can get Taylor Swift in there.
No, they'll get Selena Gomez. She can sing Spanish. You guys have Spanish and English.
I think Drake would be sick though.
I think there's a lot of options. But yeah, let us know down below. Who do you think will be part of that World Cup 2026 song? Get involved with anything we talked about today. The World Cup host cities, the United situation with their CEO.
To be fair, the Russian one had fucking Will Smith involved.
No,
it was a great song. I liked it.
That was a bit of a weird World Cup though.
It was enjoyable at times. But yeah, let's wrap this up.
But yeah, get involved with everything we talked about: transfers, United, World Cups, Eddie and Kenny, anything we talked about. Get involved. Whether you're watching on YouTube, the 90th Minute Podcast channel, or if you are listening on Spotify, Apple, any other streaming platform, we greatly appreciate it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I Googled FIFA World Cup song 2026.
Yeah.
Somebody already has one.
Okay.
It was uploaded July 2018 by Andreas Loth.
I don't think that's going to be the one.
No, it only has 200 views.
The fuck?
Why would you make a World Cup song and it's called Sunrise at the Beach? Fuck that.
Leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody. See ya.